Leon sign his new deal yet? No? Well, gotta talk about something then, I guess. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Better Lait Than Never. Shit.
I'm not actually inside a women's prison at the moment.
The horniness just went up to like 11.
Let's just turn it down. You've heard the intro 1,000 times now at this point, it feels like. So we'll just turn it down. We'll bring it down. We'll just get started. Shout out to the audio department. Theaudiodepartment.ca. Go book some studio time. Help them help you sound better with whatever you're doing. It's a place for artists to be creative. Theaudiodepartment.ca. Get some studio time, just like get your spot in for the Oilers Nation Open. We are down to the last handful, small handful of teams here, people. If you want to play, better hurry.
Yeah.
Oh, did I just close my... Oh, no, we're good. I was going to get mad. I just thought I'd close the audio thing, but we're good. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. Golf tournament. We've got a few spots left. If you want to play, get in. If you don't, get in now. I'm going to guess by the time we record a podcast next week, we're probably going to be sold out, if not pretty close to it. So the nationgear.ca website, that's where you can go sign up as a team of 4 or a couple of mosaic spots left as well. Nothing going on in the world of the Edmonton Oilers. As I was prepping for today's podcast, you look around the internet and you see nothing's happening. Not one thing. So the good news is, whenever that happens, I am allowed to just talk about nonsense. Total and utter nonsense. So what am I doing? Nothing. It's nice. Filling my head with just dumb TV. Big Brother right now. It's fantastic. The fact that Angela's still in the house. If you're behind an episode or two, fast forward 40 seconds. I just want to talk about the way that this season is going so far because it's so good. The cast this year is full of weirdos. And I know on Oilers Nation Radio on Friday, Dan was saying that's part of the reason he doesn't like it, where I'm the complete other side of the coin. I'm here for chaos. I'm here for shenanigans. I'm here for absolute the worst of people. You know my reality TV viewing habits. You know what they are. To me, the worse the people, the better. Frankly, I'd fill it with a room full of cannibals and vegans. You know? Both of them. It's going to come to a head at some point.
What are you even talking about? Even Satan thinks that's ridiculous. A bunch of cannibals and vegans. Well, the vegans would be like, hey, have you tried this grass in the yard? It's delicious. And then the cannibals would be like, well, Harry's not here. He didn't get voted out, but he left. He left on his own accord.
Really? There wasn't no eviction ceremony or anything?
No, not like that. Harry just decided he wanted to leave. Anyway, just ignore that pot of chili that I got cooking. I know it smells delicious, but I need a couple of herbs and spices to really tie things together.
You guys love it as much as I do? 3 nominees, bunch of kooky characters. It's good living. It's great living, in fact. The other thing I've been watching is a lot of Love Island. Love Island USA specifically. That show really satisfies the urge for the worst people of all time. Essentially, long story short, you pair up with essentially a stranger. You got to share a bed with this person for a week. And over the course of the week, you get challenges to either get to know that person better or get some curveballs thrown your way, be it another sexy single. Or maybe some of the other housemates kind of jive better than you with the person. Anyway, it was the Casa Amor. I'm behind, by the way. The problem with Love Island is there's so many episodes. I feel like you got to watch it every single day for months to get through it. So right now, I just really want to watch Too Hot to Handle, but I got to get through Love Island first. I think I'm only like 2/3 of the way through the season. Just finished Casa de Amore. Casa Amor? Casa de Amor. Either way, it's basically the
slut hut. That's what you were calling it last night. Just call it the slut hut like you were calling it last night.
Now, the reason I was saying such a derogatory term about Casa de Amor, Casa Amor, doesn't matter. Essentially, it's just an invitation to cheat on your partner that you may or may not have had in the house. It's a slut hut. That's what I was calling it. Guys were like, I'm in a committed relationship and I'll never leave you, babe, I swear. You're everything I've ever wanted in a girl. I can see us having a future together as soon as we leave this resort, babe, I swear. I swear. Fast forward 24 hours, they're in Casa Amor. They forget they even had a partner. Sometimes me missus gets just disgusted by the people and their willingness to abandon ship almost immediately, whereas I encourage it. Here's the reality. I don't know any of these people. Never going to meet them. Never going to go to a show and tell or a meet and greet or a autograph signing or a whatever. So I'm glad that they're horrible people because ultimately that's what entertains me. And in this scenario, especially in the off season, that's what I care about. The other thing, of course, I've been watching is a lot of Olympics, as we all are today, as I'm doing my show. Canada just won bronze in the women's pole vault. Women's pole vault, just pole vault in general, I guess, is one, a ridiculous sport. You essentially run 50 meters down a track with a long stick, stick it in that hole, and you go flying upward. I never understood the physics on it. I've always wanted to try it just to see if I could get any semblance of liftoff, but I'd need mats surrounding me at 360 degrees. There's no way I would be going forward the way that you're supposed to. Second, I want to know what it feels like when the pole kind of bends in half and then it snaps you back up. Unless you're that dude, who he cleared the bar and then all of a sudden,
Well, his big old hammer came in and knocked out his Olympic dream. That's what you get for wanting a huge schwanz, dum-dum.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, we know that probably would never happen to you, would it?
No, probably not.
In fact, the broadcasters on TV would be like, hey, bag milk's not point to point, buddy.
I don't get the joke. Can you explain it?
Maybe when you're older.
I'm older now.
Shut up, quads.
So here we are. 6 gold, 4 silver, 9 bronze for 19 medals for Canada. I think the over-under before the tournament started, or the Olympics started, I guess it's a tournament in a way, 5.5, I think, was the gold. So if you bet the over, you already won. You cashed in. Mission accomplished. Congratulations to you. I'm super into race walking. Have you seen that? Hips don't lie in that sport. The guy from Canada, he was talking about his love of race walking, and he got bronze, I think, in the last Olympics in the 50 kilometer. So I'm thinking about if ever there was an Olympic event where I think I could do it, it's probably race walking. You just have to keep one foot on the ground. You got to have a hip wiggle. I figure I could do that. And then you see the pace that they walk at. I take my dog Frank on walks, and our kilometer pace is around 9 to 11 minutes, depending on what we're doing. Like, am I cruising? Am I dialed in? I want to come under sub 10 minutes for that kilometer. Is Frank just chilling, sniffing, cruising, being, living, dogging? And then it could be, 12, 15 minutes for a kilometer. But you see the rate at which they're walking, it's like triple my high end. You are flying with the wiggly hips. It's what Shakira was here for. Hips don't lie, Hips don't lie, of course.
First of all, what went through my mind is how stupid am I?
The other event I really enjoyed over the weekend was the hammer toss. The Canadian dude won the gold medal in the hammer toss. That event is wild. You essentially got a big long rock on a rope and you whip it around real fast and you just launch it. It's a wild event. And I like the way that he had a mustache and the long hair. He looked casual. I love it. The Olympics are fun. The Olympics are a lot of fun. And I'm also getting caught up in the thing where, someone's doing their event they've worked their entire life at. They're living their dream out at the Olympics, and then they fuck something up even minorly. And I go, puh. Well, your Olympic dream's done. I think a lot of us do that. Does it make sense? No. Am I ever going to go to the Olympics? No. Not even as a spectator, if I'm being honest. I was trying to guess how much tickets are to go be a spectator. Say you want to go watch beach volleyball. How much are tickets to the Olympics? Let's see. Paris 24 games summer pack. Let's check these out. tickets to the Olympics. What do you get here? 1 million tickets were issued. Notably, more than 1 million tickets were offered. Nearly 50% of tickets reserved for the general public will have a price of or equal to, price less than or equal to 50 euros. And almost a third of the general public tickets for medal events will be offered at under 100 euros. Now, second question. How much is 100 euros? So we're going to go over to here. 100 euros. We are on xe.com. We're going to do a little conversion here. 100 euros is about $150 Canadian. 150.28 to be specific. $150.28. Would I spend $150.28 to go see a gold medal event? Maybe. Depends what the event is, I guess. Well, like if it's the decathlon, I'd probably pay for that because at least that event goes on all day, I feel like. Again, I'm not a scientist. I'm not an Olympic historian, but I do think that if you're going to an event, you pick a decathlon or something long so you get your $150 worth. Basketball game, maybe. What event would you spend $150 to go watch the final at? Now I'm thinking. I would definitely go watch my man, the Turkish dude, go shooting. I know that event's over with, but man, electric. The thing that annoyed me, though, I don't know if you ever saw like the quotes that were going around about where, you know, he was standing up there accepting his medal and he said to his ex-wife, if you're watching this, give me the dog back. I looked it up because I bought into it. And again, the internet fooled me. I love that shit. I love to believe that he wanted his dog back. As a dog owner, dog lover, I could have understood what he was getting at. And it's all fake, just like everything on the internet. You can't believe anything anymore. Sad. Sad. This past weekend was a long weekend here in Canada. I went out to Sylvan Lake for the first time. I mentioned that last week, I think, that I was going to Sylvan Lake. I hadn't been there in, I want to say 7 or 8 years. And let me tell you something. Did I make a mistake going on the long weekend for my first time back? Yes, I did. Because as I was pulling into Sylvan Lake on Saturday, I just looked at the beach and I went, oh my Lord. There was tents, little, what would you call those things? Like almost gazebo-like structures popped up everywhere. Beach rammed. Now, we did find some quiet spots. I did find an area down the lake away from everybody where my dog was allowed to go in the water. I was disappointed when I got there. And again, it's my fault. I didn't research it. I was like, oh, I'm going to take Frank in the water. He's never really been in a lake before, so I'm excited to see how he acts. Turns out you're not allowed to bring your dog on the beach. So the good news is I went way down, way around, found an area nice and quiet. Dogs were in there. Dogs were having a good time. Frank went in there, had the best time. Gallivanting, frolicking even. Overall, great weekend. Love Sylvan Lake. It's amazing how much that place changed. I used to go for a week, at least a week, 2 weeks every summer for ages. I used to go to the hockey school that they have set up there when I was a kid. And it's just amazing how much things changed. That's life though. Show goes on. Sylvan Lake forgot about me when there was a time. Felt like it was almost a home away from home, but now, not so much. Not so much. And while there may not be any news to talk about, at least not pertaining to the Oilers, not much anyway. We're going to get to it anyway. The news is brought to you by Star Mechanical. Of course, Star Mechanical is one of Edmonton's biggest locally owned and operated plumbing and heating businesses here in the city. They've been working within the community for over 20 years. Many of the homes built here in Edmonton over the last 2 decades have had their plumbing and heating systems installed by Star Mechanical. If you need anything for your home, StarMechanical.ca is where you need to go. Help them help you keep your home running smoothly. Again, there's really no news to talk about. So we're going to take the limited items that we found on the internet pertaining to the Edmonton Oilers, and we're going to talk about them. Stan Bowman ahead of the Hlinka Gretzky tournament that kicked off at Rogers Place on Monday. By the way, we have Stephen Ellis from dailyfaceoff.com. We have Liam Harbin from OilersNation.com covering the tournament for us. Watch out for some fresh takes from the boys as the tournament continues. It's one of those up-and-coming young stars tournaments. If you're looking for something to do, I looked it up last week. Tickets are about 29 bones. But Stan Bowman, new general manager of the Edmonton Oilers, was spoken to by Derek Van Diest of NHL.com before the tournament started. And when he was asked about Leon Draisaitl's contract negotiations, well, basically he said nothing. Nothing you haven't heard. How important it is. Everybody knows Leon's important to the team. Getting star players is one of the hardest parts about being in the NHL, is a priority. There is no negative news to report. Now, is that surprising? No. Did I want more? Yes. Could Stan Bowman go a long way to repairing his image in Edmonton just by getting this done immediately? Yes. So for having no news, I boo you, sir. The funny thing about having no news, though, right now for the Oilers or the NHL really as a whole, is now we're just fixated on this contract. All we've got is to think about Leon Draisaitl's contract. I'm thinking about what kind of cardigans he's going to buy once he signs it. Is he going to buy himself a new watch, maybe a new car, fresh pair of slacks, new pair of kicks, all of the above? Multiple sets, multiple colors. Maybe he'll buy all the same clothes for his house in Edmonton as his house in Germany or wherever he summers. Maybe. That's where my head's at. We're also taking guesses on Leon's new deal over at Nation HQ. I'm still coming in at 8 years around 375. I think it's going to go higher than some people do. The range essentially was 13.25 to 13.75. The odd person kind of thinks maybe 14, but who knows? We're all taking guesses. Price is Right rules do apply. Please submit your guess on the contract. I'd like to know what you think he's going to sign for. I even wrote a What Would You Do Wednesday today for the site. Again, nothing's going on, so I'm just curious what people think. What would you sign him for? Given his age, given his production, given what you know about the aging curve in the National Hockey League, do you give him the max term that he wants? I say yes. But what do you say? What do you say? In more important news, just kidding. Infinite Patience. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, 7-year-old racehorse, won a $50,000 prize at the BC Cup Distaff, D-I-S-T-A-F-F. Distaff in Vancouver this past Monday, making it 20th win of Infinite Patience's career. Made a trip to the winner's circle. Nice little 50 grand prize. Shout out to Infinite Patience. What a name. What a name for that horse, you know?
I'm not gonna lie, having a horse named Infinite Patience when you suffered through a decade of darkness with the Edmonton Oilers is pretty hilarious by Nugent-Hopkins. I know nobody says that he is a center, or he's a big ha-ha lols guy, joke guy, and nobody knows if he's got a sense of humor or not. He's been a pretty quiet chap since arriving since 2011. But Infinite Patience, naming your horse there, that is devious. It is clever. It makes Satan feel slightly erotic.
It's enough of you. So shout out to Nuge and Infinite Patience. Of course, like I mentioned, the Hlinka Gretzky Cup has kicked off. It started on Monday. We're going to have some articles from Liam, some news and notes and observations from the tournament when he's down at Rogers Place. DailyFaceoff.com. Stephen Ellis is going to have a whole list of items he wants to cover from the tournament. He is our prospect analyst in the network. We also have the prospect countdown starting at OilersNation.com by Bruce Kurlock. He always makes me feel smarter. I read Bruce's stuff and I go, well, I'm going to pass these ideas off as my own. I'll tell you that much. Makes me sound a whole lot smarter. Make me sound a whole lot more respected within the space. You know? I just take Bruce's words and analysis and I spit them out as my own. I just add a little bag milk polish onto them. Maybe change the words, maybe change the play, change the wordplay, change the timing, maybe add a joke in there. All of a sudden, I sound real smart. So watch out for those articles coming from Bruce as we get closer to the new season. Oilers preseason kicks off on September 22nd. That'll be the first game of the preseason. I'm guessing they're going to play way too many games. I'm going to complain way too much. I hate the preseason. Hate the preseason. Hate the preseason.
I love the preseason. Let me tell you something. Quads loves when the prospects get their chance to shine because just like me at CanucksArmy.com, I came in as a scrappy prospect. I rose to the top of the ranks. I elbowed my way to the top, and I want to see which prospects are going to do the same. I wish the preseason was 82 games and the regular season was 8 games. Quads loves the preseason.
Me and Quads were, speaking of Quads, we were talking about playing chess against each other yesterday. Neither of us are very good. So that's why we thought, like, you know what? If we play chess against each other, we can correct each other's mistakes. We can both be kind of shit and not worry about it. Is that fair? I think that's fair. So watch out for me and Quads having some chess content coming very shortly, or not at all. Be very boring, I imagine. Chess is a game that I enjoy playing, but it makes me feel very stupid. I don't know all the tactics required to be an adequate chess player. So I'm a mediocre one, and I like to go play. I like to move my pieces around, and I like to pretend I know what I'm doing. Really, it's kind of all you need, right? Kind of all you need. So again, nothing going on. We're waiting on Leon Draisaitl. We're waiting on pictures from the McDavid wedding. We're waiting on the boys being back in town. We're waiting. But in the interim, I hope you're enjoying your summer to this point. I hope you're having an excellent time while the weather is nice, because you're going to blink and it's going to be October. And that's why you have the news. The news brought to you by Star Mechanical. Visit starmechanical.ca today, schedule an appointment, and let them help you keep your home running smoothly. Of course, if you need it, 24/7 emergency service.
Here's a fun fact. You're listening to Better Late Than Never. So, shut the fuck up and listen to Better Late Than Never.
So, you've come to the master for guidance?
I didn't mean to push that button, but I like it. You are listening to Better Late Than Never, as Dukes, not Dukes, said. It is time to get to the big question. Damn it. The big question. Fuck. I gotta label these buttons better. I hate this button.
I hate this button.
I was all excited to use my megaphone. I fucked it all up. The things I do for your entertainment, you don't even see it. You don't even see it. The big question is brought to you by Oodle Noodle, of course, 4 for 4 torpedo shrimp. So 4 shrimpies for $4. Go get it. Make it a meal anytime. $6.99 in store. Includes an order of 2 spring rolls or green onion cake. You get a pop. You get your box. Add $6.99 onto it in store. Go get some Oodle Noodle. It's delicious. Today, the question was pretty simple because, like I said, there's not a whole lot going on right now. So I want to know what you think is the world's greatest TV show and why. I'm looking for more stuff to watch. I always am. I think we all are. And who better to guide you on your journey than some of your fellow internet citizens? Nation citizens have always got excellent taste, and that's why I trust them as much as I do. And therefore, when I think of the Oodle Noodle big question, when I think of the things that I want to ask, it's really just kind of trying to improve my own life. And if you learn a little something from it too, then, well, it's good news. We're going to start this off with Kyle the Embalmer. This question is a fight just waiting to happen. Some of the best TV shows that I would anticipate new episodes of were Game of Thrones. Haven't watched an episode. Breaking Bad. I watched 2 episodes on the plane to Florida for Game 1 and Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals. I haven't picked it up since then. And up until COVID, where I somehow lost interest, I was into The Walking Dead. I was into The Walking Dead for the first, I'm going to say, 2 seasons. After that, I was really bored of it. The exact same thing. I kind of wanted the zombies to win. I do tend to cheer for the villains sometimes. I don't know what that says about me. Donkey Volley chiming in. He says, Faulty Towers. Only 12 episodes meant it never fizzled out, and it remains hilarious today. That kind of reminds me of a show that Liam and I were talking about on Oilers Nation Radio a couple of weeks ago, The In-Betweeners. I think there's only 3 seasons of The In-Betweeners. Maybe there's 4. But that show, albeit rude and crude, so some of the jokes probably wouldn't land as well today with an audience on TV. I personally think it's hilarious. I personally think it's hilarious. Rob chimes in and said, I just got into it recently, but it's Ted Lasso. It's incredible. The stories, the message, the comedy, the feels, hits all the buttons. Used to be Game of Thrones, Dexter, Breaking Bad, but Ted Lasso is exceptional. Stephen Fiddler, I love this answer from him. He says, The Sopranos. Despite the controversial finale, the show changed television forever. It showed that TV could be as good as or better than a great movie. It was also one of the first shows that had an anti-hero as the protagonist. Tony Soprano is legit. James Gandolfini was so good in that show. In fact, Steven, you've inspired me to rewatch The Sopranos. I think the last time I did a clean run through of The Sopranos was probably close to 10 years ago. I'm more than due. Danger Suede, friend of the show. He says Lost. Not only the best show that had an amazing ending, but hands down the greatest opening of a TV show ever. I watched the first season of Lost and I hated it. Wanya and I have had a discussion about this multiple times at Nation HQ because he loved Lost as well. I just couldn't get into it. Maybe it was too late for me to get into it by the time I started watching it. I started watching it during the pandemic and I couldn't buy into Lost at all. PJ, Pammy says, drama is Breaking Bad, comedy or a sitcom. It's got to go Golden Girls and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. All are phenomenally acted. Very well written. Ryan Spatowski says, some point I'm going to learn to talk. You would think somebody who podcasts at least partially for a living would know how to speak, but communication, not for me. Not for me. So that's big. Ryan Spatowski says Arrested Development because Gob and Tobias. I've never watched Arrested Development either. So Gob, it's all capitalized. Gob like the band. I want to jump in a lake. Sun shining down on the beach in the summer. Groundskeeper Willie, well, I think I know what his answer is going to be, has to be The Simpsons. 2 decades of hilarity and its uncanniness of predicting the future. 2 decades. It's probably got to be pushing 3 decades now. It's got to be over 3 decades, right? Let's see. The Simpsons. How many episodes of The Simpsons? Let's see. 768 episodes. Debuted on December 17th of 1989. Buddy, we are more than 2 decades. I like this. How long would it take to watch the first 700 episodes of The Simpsons? The answer to that is 271 hours. In case you were wondering. 768 episodes. Wild shit. Rusty, the Reckless Optimist, of course, friend of the show. My favorite show is The Office. The writing, the acting, the improv, everything adds up to make it the best TV show, in my opinion. I love The Office as well. Just like Dayton says, I want to say The Office due to the rewatchability and the genius humor. But a recent fave of mine has been Reservation Dogs. A+ humor. A+ humor and features a lead role actress from the Alexis Nakota CU Reserve just outside of Edmonton. Confirmed Oilers fan too. CW says Californication. The writing for the shit Hank would get himself into was unreal. I also loved Californication. That was a really good show. David Duchovny was awesome in that. Scott says South Park, no explanation needed. South Park has been one of my favorite shows for over 30 years. I started watching South Park in 1997. I think that's when it came out. And remember, the animations were all crude then, and they were killing Kenny every episode, and it was kind of like a whole thing. I remember getting an in-school suspension. It was basically like a full day of detention because I wore a t-shirt in grade 7 to school that said, "You killed Kennedy, you bastards." And unfortunately, didn't go over so well with the teacher. Lane says, my favorite show of all time is Roadkill. Just 2 guys goofing around with cars on a low budget, good, clean, classic fun. I've never watched that either. Mike D says, by the number of times I've rewatched it, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. But I have to say The Wire and Breaking Bad are the all-time best. I have not seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I have not watched The Wire. I have not watched more than the first 2 episodes of Breaking Bad. Jamie says The Golden Girls, way ahead of its time, and it still holds up pretty damn well over 30 years later. Getting some love for The Golden Girls. Nick, our boy Nick, says House. Medical drama plus mystery aspect worked so well. Casting is awesome. New characters don't ruin the feel from the original. Story evolves in a naturalish way. Dr. Cameron is also unbelievably hot. Hashtag he put in here. I'm reading this. Actually, Satan, you say it.
Hashtag Ari is a virgin.
I didn't say it. Satan said it. Haunt Mo says The Office. No explanation, just posts a gif of Dwight. I respect it. Buffy says MASH. Funny before its time and what all sitcoms since have tried to emulate. The Oily Boy says Game of Thrones for sure. No show I've seen has left me speechless like season 3 did of Game of Thrones. The world building is superb. And just as an extra high, Valerian as a fictional language just sounds sexy as fuck, especially when Daenerys or Rhaenyra are speaking. Rhaenyra. Can't wait for some new stuff to come in. Again, I've never watched Game of Thrones at all, so I guess the lesson here is that I don't know much about what you guys are into. I can't help but notice not one of you have said Too Hot to Handle, Love Island. What are some other dating shows I've watched? Fuck, I watch so many now, I just don't even remember them. Are You the One? Can't imagine that any of those were hitting your all-time faves, eh? What is my favorite show? Probably South Park is my favorite show. I've always loved South Park. The Office is great. The funny thing about The Office is that was a show I didn't watch until the pandemic when I was just home all day. And then I'm like, you know what? Everybody loves The Office. I'm going to watch it. And now I've probably seen the series through start to finish outside of the last couple of seasons. You know the ones I'm talking about. 3 or 4 times. So yeah, The Office. Great picks by all of you. Go to Oodle Noodle, get yourself something to eat. Would ya? Of course.
Listen here, cunt. You're fucking listening to Better Late Than Never. So keep fucking listening. Or not. I don't fucking care. It's not my podcast. It's hosted by Bag Milk. And I'm not Bag Milk, so fucking whatever.
You might be. Who's to say you're not Bag Milk, Dukes? You could be. It could be anybody. You could have masked your Australian accent so adequately that people think I'm you or that you're me or that we're all we. Something to think about. The betting segment, Bets of the Week, is brought to you by Bet365, proud partner of Better Late Than Never. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. So whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it is never ordinary at Bet365. Use the promo code Oily Bonus. Oily Bonus. Oily Bonus. Looking at futures again. I was going to do some baseball bets because, you know, the trade deadline just passed and the Blue Jays are terrible. So I was going to look at some of them, but the futures on the Jays bets, they're just not even fun. Like the chances of making the playoffs, basically 0. So I'm going back to the NHL and we're looking at some regular season team point totals. In the Pacific Division, no surprise, the Edmonton Oilers are favored. Now, when I think about their points totals, they're pretty aggressive. They're pretty aggressive. So where are they at? Currently, the line is set at 108.5. 108.5 for the Edmonton Oilers. Now, in case you forgot, and I'm sure you may have, last year, they got 104 points. So they would need 3 more wins to get there. In total, only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Only 7 teams in the National Hockey League beat 108.5. So, Oilers 108.5, over under both set at -110. Where would I go on that one? Chances are I'd probably just avoid the bet. Going over or under at a pick'em like this at minus 110, there's so many variables that could go into this. Like last year, the Oilers, they would have cleared that easily had they not had, 2 months of doom. That's what I'm talking about. How am I supposed to bet on this? I can't predict what the Oilers are going to do. When is their slump going to happen? Are they going to have one? I don't know. Next up in the Pacific Division, the Vancouver Canucks, the line is set at 99.5 total points. Last year in the Pacific Division, the Vancouver Canucks did win the division at 109 points. I'm personally expecting their PDO to regress a little bit this year. I think breaking 100, it would be a really good goal for the Canucks. I think I would still bet the over on that. The over on that is minus 105. The under is minus 115. In my heart of hearts, I just avoid it. The Las Vegas Golden Knights. Last year, they finished with 98 points, 4th place in the Pacific Division. They are set at 98.5 this year. Over as a minus 105, under as a minus 115. I actually like the Golden Knights to get back over the century mark. That's not to say that they had a huge offseason or anything like that, but I also think that they had some bad luck with some injuries last year, and I think that they're probably going to be normalized a little bit. So I would take the over at minus 105 on 98.5 points for Vegas. Next up in the Pacific, the Los Angeles Kings at 96.5. They finished 3rd in the Pacific last year, 99 points. I actually think the Kings got worse. No offense to our boy Warren Fogle. No offense to Warren Fogle. I think he had a heck of a season last year with the Edmonton Oilers, first 20-goal season of his career. Went and signed a big ticket in LA, but they lost Victor Arvidsson, who's coming on down to be our friend now. Let me tell you one thing. I think Victor Arvidsson is a better complete player than Warren Fogle. I actually think trading Pierre-Luc Dubois hurt them down the middle, even though he did not have a great season by any stretch. I don't like their goaltending tandem. So 96.5, the over set at minus 130 for the Los Angeles Kings, but the under is plus money at plus 100. I think I might take the under. I may consider the Los Angeles Kings to be outside the playoffs in general this season. And finally, I want to look at the Calgary Flames. I want to go down the highway, down the QE2. The line is set for the Flames at 81.5. The over 81.5 is set at minus 105. Under is set at minus 115. Now, last year, the Calgary Flames had 81 points. I would take the under on this one because the Flames, as you all know, they've had a complete yard sale of an offseason. They are getting rid of literally everyone that they can. I personally think they're going to be terrible. I think they're going in full rebuild mode, which we all know that's not a surprise to anybody. But I'm guessing they're going to come down way along the lines of where like an Ottawa or, a Columbus was last year. Ottawa had 78 points. Columbus had 66. I'm thinking Calgary's going to be somewhere in that window. I think them breaking 80 with the team they have this year is going to be a massive stretch unless a lot of things go right. So, a couple of futures for you looking at regular season point totals within the Pacific Division. You open an account today with Bet365 and bet on a huge range of markets. So whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it is never ordinary at Bet365. Use the promo code OILYBONUS. Oily bonus.
You're listening to Better Lait Than Never with bagged milk on your usual podcast scenario. What I would suggest is you like, subscribe. Hey, guess what? Leave a review. Otherwise, the puppy gets it.
You want to see a man, boy? I'll show you a man. Kick me in the jimmy.
For Trilogy Oilfield Rentals, it's time for the righteous sack beating. Of course, Trilogy Rentals are an established provider of tools and expertise across multiple oil field disciplines, specializing in rentals, pipe recovery, abandonments, and completions. Currently, they maintain full-time operating units in Provost, Weyburn, and Kindersley. What kind of tools does Trilogy Oilfield Rentals have? Well, let me tell you. Rental tools, fishing tools, coil tools, drilling tools, mills and bits, completion tools. Any tools for any job. TrilogyRentals.ca. What's bothering me this week, you might ask? The answer is nothing. At least that's what I thought. And then I started my daily routine where I get up early, have a little glass of water, rub the sleep out of my eyes, pet my dog for a minute, then I strap him up, put the leash on, head out into the streets. Quick 2-kilometer walk to start the day. It's lovely, it's quiet, it's brisk, it's nice. Frankly, taking a walk that early in the morning sets the tone for the day. I think everything's really nice. I love it. Doing one of my usual routes. I'm checking the scenery. Got no phone, got no headphones. I am just dialed into the moment. Looking around, enjoying my dog. He's sniffing. He's having a good time. And then he stops for a caca. And what do? I wait patiently. I have my bag out. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do my thing. I'm ready to do my job. You finish up your job, pal. I'll come in, swoop in, clean up the mess.
Clean up on aisle 3. Frag dropped a big old shit. Bag milk's coming in.
But then I look as I'm waiting. Why are the leaves changing color already? Why does it feel like our summer did not exist? Now, normally the Oilers don't play hockey until July or June 24th. Normally that doesn't happen. Normally they're out sometime in May, and Gord knows there's plenty of years when they were out in April. But this year they went deep, and this year we had a lot of fun. And this year it felt different. But what it meant is my off season has been very short. And now I'm looking around and seeing leaves that are not the color that they should be, at least in my opinion. How are they getting yellow already? How did I miss my summer? How did I miss out on what feels like an eternity of green leaves? Now, it's just begun. The process has just begun. But I'd be lying if I said it didn't hurt my feelings to look around and see the leaves changing, potentially even falling to the ground. I haven't even harvested my jalapenos yet. They're growing. They're beautiful. They're bulbous. They're looking plump and spicy. But then I look around and I see that the trees are changing color, reminding me of what's to come. I'm not ready for this, friends. I don't know how this happened. I didn't know that the Oilers could hurt me so deeply by losing in Game 7. That it would set the tone for being hurt by Mother Nature not long after. We basically had a month of summer. It hurts. Hurts my feelings. And the natural cycle of our environment is getting the righteous sack beating this week.
You want to see a man, boy? I'll show you a man. Kick me in the jimmy.
And now, it's Better Late Than Never live. Get in there, or be sorry. You know you want to. Oh, yes.
New podcast sponsor time. We welcome A&W Burgers for a Mess. Burgers for a Mess is back, celebrating its 16th year on Thursday, August 22nd. For every teen burger sold on Burgers to Beat MS Day, $2 will be donated to Multiple Sclerosis Canada. In the lead up to August 22nd, you support Burgers to Beat MS by rounding up your bill with any purchase at an A&W, donating online at burgerstobeatms.ca or through the A&W app, or by adding a donation option to your cart when ordering A&W on delivery apps such as Uber Eats, DoorDash, Skip the Dishes. A&W is rallying communities to unite for the cause and raise awareness about MS in Canada. On August 22nd, Canadians can show their support and help envision a world free of MS by visiting their local A&W restaurant and purchasing a delicious teen burger to directly and positively benefit groundbreaking research and support for individuals living with and affected by multiple sclerosis. August 22nd. That's what you need to know. Go down to A&W, order A&W, order all the teen burgers you can handle. $2 from each burger will be donated to Burgers to Beat MS. I've got it on my calendar. We are but 2 short weeks away from me getting my fill of A&W. How many burgers will I get that day? I'm setting the line at 6.5. On Oilers Nation Radio last week, I said 8.5, but that seems lofty. 6.5, I can do that. I can do it, and I will do it. So will you. Let's get to the voicemails. These are a hodgepodge of random topics, I believe. We shall see what happens. This one came in on July 31st. Anonymous caller, who be you?
Gonna do this in one take.
We've got Chad checking in. See, now I'm just recognizing voices. Chad, he thinks he's flying under the radar with anonymous, nameless messages, but not old bag milk. You can't beat me.
Can't beat me either. I know you, Chad. I know your deepest, darkest secrets. Never forget that.
Slacking on that. Sorry. Perfect day off. Wake up whenever the heck I want to, ideally.
So last week's big question for Oodle Noodle was, what do you do with a perfect day off? And Chad starting it off by saying, I wake up whenever I want to. Does anybody else, as you got older, your body's just like, nah, mate, you're not sleeping anymore. It's 7:30. Get up. The latest I can sleep anymore, the latest is 9 o'clock. And if I actually get to 9 o'clock, there's a very good chance my furry homie is going to come and wake me up because he's like, bro, you need to feed me immediately. It has been hours since I've eaten. Anyway, back to you, Chad.
Eat no later than like 10, a little after 10. Get up, eat something, go work in the garage for a bit, come in, eat, have a nap, wake up, putz around for a bit, go work in the garage, get hungry, go get myself that spicy, whatever, buffalo chicken burger from that Sal's place. Come back in, maybe hang out with the missus here, watch some TV, maybe we're watching animes right now. Do some of that. Maybe have a late evening snog. Then maybe play a quick little video game or watch something else.
Can you tell me what a snog is? I'm confused about what he's ending his day with. That sounds like he's eating boogers.
Quads, I need you to sit down.
I am sitting. Go ahead.
A snog is nothing quite like boogers, Quads. When a man and a woman are deeply in love, sometimes they like to express that love in a physical way.
I'm listening. Like, you mean like a high five or maybe a secret handshake? Something like that. Me and my missus, we've got a secret handshake. Yeah, that's how we express our love physically.
Yes. Handshake. Yes. That's a good boy.
Doing puzzles. Sometimes we do something like that.
Puzzles?
And then she goes to bed earlier than I do. So then maybe I go out, work in the garage for another couple hours, and come in and go to bed.
What are you doing
Kind
out
of what
there?
I do. Fall asleep watching YouTube pretty much nightly. It's my perfect day. Add in an oil dub and we're really winning.
What are you doing out there for hours at a time working in your garage? I don't have a garage. I don't even have the opportunity to go outside and work in my garage for hours at a time. I'd like to. It sounds fun. I think. Maybe. Waz's Dried Mangoes has left a message, and here it is.
Hey, so just listening to last week's episode, man, I just want to give you props for encouraging me to leave a voicemail in response to me leaving a voicemail.
Yeah.
I think that was really insightful.
Yeah, I think so
of
too.
you, and I feel like it's opened me up to a whole new world of opportunities. So shout out Bag Milk, baby.
Thank you.
Let's go.
I'm an excellent host. I am a professional at what I do. I professionally suck, and I get paid to act like an asshole on this podcast. That's essentially what it is. That's the long and short of it.
Good afternoon.
So I know you're a lover of the art form known as reality television.
Yes, let's talk about it.
I wanted to pitch a hypothetical show in
All
your
right.
direction.
I'm in.
If you'll allow me.
Let's go.
Thanks for allowing me.
No problem.
Say if you took one beloved, one whatever, and you flew them down from Edmonton down to Australia, as it's known, and they had to survive a week.
Yeah.
Different scenarios. They're not together. They're by themselves. Yeah. Our beloved Lord and Savior was Waslington with $100.
Yep.
And he has to survive Australian dollars.
Okay.
And he has to survive a week in, say, Brisbane.
Sure.
And what's that fucking vagabond that keep it 32% or whatever, Chalmers from Real Life.
Yeah.
You give him a knife, not a huge knife, not a small knife, like a medium knife. You fuck him off out into the bush somewhere, and he has to survive a week. Which one do you think does a better job? Which one do you think survives longest?
So, let me think.
Yeah, let me know.
Let me think here. So, Waz has to survive in Brizzy with only $100. Let me see here. Could you get how much is a hostel in Brisbane? So you can get, according to this website, starting at about $28 Canadian, you can get a room for get a room at a hostel in Brisbane. Probably going to be a shithole. There's probably going to be about 15 of you in there, but it's doable. I think that with $100, Waz could get himself through a handful of nights. I don't know how he's going to feed himself. Now, Chalmers, I don't know what his outdoor prowess is. So if we're giving him a quality knife, not a big one, not a small one, but just a quality knife, and we're sending him off into the bush, first of all, the flora and fauna of Australia, much different than our own. You know, I could see Chalmers getting himself into a situation where there's like a death adder around him, maybe some kind of snake that he doesn't expect, and his knife won't help him. He's getting, boom, tang, one on the ankles. Of course, Chalmers, only wears flip-flops in the summer, so it's not exactly the best foot protection out there. So I actually think I would have to go with Waz on this one because he's actually got money, human dollars. And while I do think that getting a hostel is kind of cheating, I'm looking at a couple of different websites where there's some hostels you can get, or at least a room you can get for very, very cheap now that I'm looking at it. There's Breeze Hostel at Kangaroo Point. Do you know where that is? You know where that is, Dukes? That one, you can get a group room, which means, again, you're probably going to be in there with like 20 people, from $14.64 a night. So knowing that Waz has some human dollars and Chalmers only has a knife, I'm going to go ahead and pick Waz here. You didn't see that coming, did you, Dux? You didn't see that coming at all, did you? This one comes in from Ben.
Okay. Listen, I heard someone talking about lists of celebrity fans for the, what was it, Raiders?
It was the Raiders, yeah.
Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, as a Dolphins fan, I'm going to tell you the positives.
Go ahead.
You have like 5 criteria or something. Up-and-coming team. The definition of. You were talking about good receivers. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are probably the best duo in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Tyreek Hill's the number 1 wide receiver in the league. He's done some questionable stuff off the field. So very, very exciting. What else was there? We have a famous mascot. He was in a movie. Celebrity fans. We got Fergie, Daniel Tosh, Johnny Depp, Pitbull, DJ Khaled, J-Lo, Rick Ross, apparently he's famous, and Jack Nicklaus.
Wait a minute.
Some.
You don't know Rick Ross? Ben, this is one of those ones where I feel old. You a big boss like Rick Ross? Shit.
Which is crazy. And Anthony Rizzo. Baseball, if you know him, I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty crazy. And definitely a destination city. But yes, I know it takes 2 flights. but I mean, the atmosphere there is incredible. Yes.
I do have my criteria, and one of them is that I want my team to play in a destination city. The problem with the Dolphins is, listen, they check off all the boxes. The destination city for sure. 2 flights, though. This is a first world problem I don't know that I want to contend with. Now, I also think they might be too good. They might be too good. I don't think I want to jump on a bandwagon. I think I want to do it the right way, and I think I want to take just a terrible team and adopt them. That's why a team like the Bears is going to be in the mix. They just got the first overall pick. You know I'm an Oilers fan. I'm a sucker for a first overall pick. Vegas, they're always bad. Great city, great merch. You know, the Detroit Lions, they're good, but Amon-Ra St. Brown, I just finished receiver. He's so much fun. Justin Jefferson from the Minnesota Vikings, he's making me actually consider the Vikings because he is so electric. Highest paid wide receiver ever. I don't know if that still stands now that show's over, but love that. Love the purple colors too. So, Ben, I don't know that the Dolphins are going to be in the mix. I just don't. I think that there's a lot going for the Dolphins. There's no doubt about it. However, they might be too good. They might be too good.
Look, I just, I don't want to make light of what happened in Jasper and, other areas because it's fucked. Obviously, living in Australia and being a former firefighter, I fucking have a very good idea of, how fucked bushfires are and, how scary they are. If you've ever been 10 meters from a fucking 45-meter tall flame with a tiny little hose in your hand, you know how scary they can be. So I'm not trying to downplay it because it's fucked. And, people lose everything and they just, imagine working all your life and just having it gone because some fucking thing caught on fire. But having said that, I would gladly trade Jasper for Donkey Volley. I feel like if we could go back in time and make sure Jasper stays intact and there's no damage there, but we have to burn Donkey Volley live, I'd probably be okay with it. I don't know. I'm sure you would be too. So, yeah. Hey, Ben, how you going?
Sometimes Dick says something like, I'm not trying to make light of this, but he's one of my favorite people. It just is. It is what it is. And he is one of my favorites. Ben, you're back.
So Ari was talking about, the, Steve Dangle podcast, like SDPN and stuff. Bag Milk, in my opinion, they're really good. I mean, they're obviously Leafs biased, talk mostly about the Leafs, but they as much as it is Leafs, they don't act like the Leafs are the best in the world or anything, which is really surprising, being crazy Leafs fans. And they also have a bunch of different outlets, different podcasts. They have one with an NHL agent. They have one.
What are we doing? We're promoting SDPN here. Yeah, I mean, Dangle is incredibly talented. Steve Dangle used to work for us at one point. He was the editor of the LeafsNation.com. He was doing his LFRs and he would post them on the website, and he was doing a little bit of writing for us, sometimes on TLN, sometimes across the network. And then that's when he got his job at Sportsnet, and he was at Sportsnet for a long time and ended up leaving to take a bet on himself, and I couldn't have been more proud of him. So yeah, as much as I'm not going to run through the list of shows that SDPN has, there's no doubt that those guys are talented. That's why they're making a go of it. That's why so many people watch it. That's why Steve's personal YouTube channel is as big as it is, because they're really good at what they do. They're really good at what they do. And I just like seeing more independent people in the space. And those boys, you know, we've been in contact. I've talked to Adam Wilde a couple of times over the last couple of years. I've talked to Steve a couple of times over the last couple of years. I'm just happy that they're doing their thing, because having original media that is not controlled by a big company or controlled by TV guidelines or whatever is hugely important. And it's hugely beneficial for consumers who want to listen to that kind of content. So lots of love for the boys at the SDPN. Those guys they're doing their thing, and it makes me happy to see that they're doing their thing and having some success. Couldn't say enough good stuff about Steve. He's one of the best. He's one of the best people I've worked with. He's incredibly talented and driven and passionate. And how can he say that the Leafs are the best when he's written a book that says this team is ruining my life, or whatever the title is? Go buy that at a bookstore near you. Anonymous caller, who be you?
Here's a fun fact. Did you know the 1982 hit Come On Eileen was originally recorded as an invitation to a bukkake? Hi, Ben.
I did not know that. Don't look that up. If you are at work, don't look that up on a work computer. NSFW. All right. Come On Eileen. It's a good song.
Oh, Satan loves that song. Satan loves that song. You know, they just don't really write them like that anymore. They just don't inspire Satan the way they used to anymore, you know? Oh, come on, Eileen. These people around here wear beating down us. Running about, you know? It's so good. Come on, Eileen. Oh, Satan loves Come On, Eileen.
1982. You guys are so old. When did you get so gross? When did you get so old, gray pubes? Hey, Dukes? What do you think of that?
So the best TV show of all time, it's South Park. That one is unapologetically real and funny. And it's relatable. I think that's what makes a really good TV show.
It is a great show.
One of my favorites was Supernatural. Do you remember Supernatural? That one was funny. I found it funny for some reason. Star Trek is good. Game of Thrones is good. Yeah, those are my favorites. Friends, Seinfeld, they're overrated.
Friends and Seinfeld are overrated. Let me think about that. So I do love Seinfeld. I loved the simplicity of the show. I loved the concept of the show. I liked that the idea of them making whatever 9 seasons or whatever it was, a show that really didn't have a whole lot of plot. It literally is the show about nothing. And I always thought that was a great concept. They didn't need major lifting from the storyline to make the show work. The perfect example of it is probably one of the most famous ones, is when they're just waiting in line for a Chinese restaurant. And then the episode ends with them being like, this is taking forever, et cetera, et cetera. They leave, and then their name gets called. It's fantastic. So Friends, I haven't probably watched much Friends since it was actually on TV, though I did love it when it was on TV. But at that point, to be fair, in 2004, when that show ended, a lot of the TV shows were junk. It's just they were. So I would probably have to go back and think about Friends again. Now that I'm older, have a mortgage, I'd probably look at the apartment they all lived in and be like, hey, you work at a coffee shop. You cannot afford that apartment. It's probably where my mind would go. Does that make sense? No. Was that reality? Yes. Ben, thoughts?
And yeah, Jalen Waddle is hilarious. Our coach is awesome.
All right, still talking about the Dolphins. I don't know that the Dolphins are going to be in the mix, Ben. Interesting, too, how the voicemail download package. So essentially when I download the voicemails, they all come in a file. And they're supposed to go in order. Clearly, they did not. Anonymous caller, what say you? This is for Burgers to Beat MS Day. Proud sponsor of the voicemail.
I'll go a step further, actually. Friends, it wasn't that good to begin with. That's my opinion. Have fun with that.
I got to think about it. I haven't watched Friends in so long. I don't know if it would make me laugh anymore. It did at the time, but I also wonder how many of the jokes I even understood at the time. I don't know. R.I.P. Matthew Perry, I guess. Kyle the Embalmer, you're up.
Hey, BM.
Hello.
So it is summer. There's not a lot to talk about, but I feel like I'm going to weigh in on something. Maybe I'm a week behind, but I'm going to bring it up anyway.
Go ahead.
That I listened to ONR on Friday, so I want to talk about Tyler Yaremchuk and my opinion of booking a wedding on a long weekend. I feel like maybe some other people would.
Okay, so before Kyle goes here, if you don't know what we're talking about, on Real Life, Tyler talked about how his wedding to his lovely fiance is coming next August long weekend. And Jay brought up the fact that, listen, man, long weekends in perpetuity could be a big ask if you're always having to plan anniversary activities on one of the few long weekends of the year. Tyler said he hadn't considered it. And then there was a couple of people on social who chimed in and been like, oh man, a long weekend wedding? You're doing that to other people? Surely they would have had better plans than going to your wedding. Me, I don't really care. I'm going to attend the wedding. I'm going to have a blast. I'm going to give Tyler a gift. He wants money, but I'm going to give him a gift. And I think it's going to be a great day. I think it's going to be a fantastic day. But when it comes to having your anniversary on a long weekend, and August long weekend is always the first Monday of August, it's interesting to see the married folk come out of the woodwork and give their opinion on it. Back to Kyle the Embalmer. That is what he's calling about. A married man, I should add.
And here's a little bit of content, see how people actually feel. But my personal feelings is, if you're booking a wedding on a long weekend, it's kind of selfish. There's only so many long weekends in the summer. Some people want to enjoy it. They want to get away. They want to go camping. They want to go to the lake. Now, you've basically taken that away from them, especially if they aren't part of your family or part of the wedding and they're just friends, because they're coming for one day on the Saturday to your wedding, which ruins their Friday night. And it really takes away them being able to go anywhere. I mean, they maybe the Sunday, I guess, but really, it's just you're taking away a whole long weekend in the summer. That's my opinion. Maybe someone else has something they'd like to weigh in and see what they have to say about it, but that is my opinion on it. So, for now, that's it. Maybe I'll have some other stuff later.
If you're married and you listen to this show, or you know what, if you're not married and listen to this show, should Tyler be having his wedding on the long weekend? I personally don't care. You know, I love my long weekends, but I think that in this case, it's just one day for me. It's in Edmonton. I can be back home. I could still be out at the lake on Sunday if I so chose for one night at the lake. I could still do that. But if you're traveling from out of town, maybe you're flying in, maybe you have to commute, get hotel rooms, all that stuff. I'd like to hear from you. Did Tyler make the right choice holding his wedding on a long weekend? You tell me. A&W is rallying communities to unite for the cause and raise awareness about MS in Canada. On August 22nd, Canadians can show their support and help envision a world without multiple sclerosis by visiting their local A&W restaurant and purchasing a delicious teen burger to directly and positively benefit groundbreaking research and support individuals living with and affected by MS. Burgers for MS Day is on August 22nd. $2 from every teen burger will be going to fight the cause. And I think it's a great cause. And who doesn't love a teen burger? They're delicious. They are delicious. So we welcome A&W to the podcast as the sponsor of the voicemail. I thank all of you for being here and listening to the voicemails. I thank you for contributing. I thank the Oilers for not doing any news during the podcast, leaving the opportunity open for an emergency show later in the week. Maybe Leon signs, maybe not. Either way, I'll be waiting and I'll be watching. Are you excited? Probably not. Go enjoy the outside. Go enjoy the weather. As I said, the leaves are turning. It's too soon. It's too soon.
Thank you for listening to Better Late Than Never, where we had bag milk, Captain Felton and his massive hammer, Dukes who is a dum-dum twat, Nick with the K, having a temper tantrum, and Donkey Volley, who legally can still out around school zones.